My child, before you take another step, I want you to pause and feel the stillness around you, because what I am about to reveal carries the weight of heaven itself. Let your heart slow down, let your mind quiet itself, because this message is not ordinary, and neither is the truth hidden within it. My beloved one, someone close to you, yes, someone whose footsteps you have grown familiar with, someone whose presence used to feel safe, has crossed a threshold they can no longer return from. And next week, whether they accept it or resist it, whether they hide or pretend otherwise, their reality will change drastically. The path they have walked in darkness will finally lead them into the consequence they earned with their own actions. My child, listen carefully. This is not a symbolic message. This is not a poetic metaphor. This is not me exaggerating to get your attention. No, this is my voice revealing a truth that cannot be softened with gentle words. Someone you trusted, someone you loved, someone you carried in your heart, someone you defended even when you shouldn't have, has become entangled in a level of wrongdoing that no amount of excuses or apologies can erase. The time of pretending is over. The time of second chances has run out. The time of mercy has already passed through their hands like sand they refuse to hold on to. And now their fate is sealed, not because I want to punish them, but because they refused every way out I handed them. My beloved child, you have no idea how many times I whispered warnings into their heart. You have no idea how many opportunities they had to turn around, to confess, to step into the light instead of sinking deeper into the shadows. But each time, instead of choosing truth, they chose deception. Each time, instead of choosing integrity, they chose manipulation. Each time, instead of choosing healing, they chose destruction. They ignored conviction. They silenced their conscience. They hardened their spirit. And now, the consequences that have been building quietly in the background of their life are finally rising to the surface. My child, I know you're asking, Lord, who is it? Why would someone so close to me do something like this? And I understand the confusion swirling inside you, but hear me clearly, the heart is not revealed by words, but by choices. While they stood beside you physically, their spirit was drifting away from the truth long before you sensed anything was wrong. Their smile masked bitterness they never dealt with. Their praise hid jealousy they refused to uproot. Their support covered a resentment they tried to deny. Outwardly, they looked like a companion, a confidant, a friend. But inwardly, a darkness grew that they continued to feed instead of fight. My child, let me take you deeper. This person's corruption didn't begin the moment they committed the crime you're about to learn. It began earlier, quietly, subtly, like a seed buried beneath the soil, watered by envy, nourished by pride, and strengthened by secrecy. They opened the door to darkness the moment they began comparing themselves to you. They allowed bitterness to fester the moment they saw blessings enter your life. They allowed jealousy to grow the moment they saw the anointing on your spirit. Your rise became their resentment. Your favor became their frustration. Your growth became their insecurity. That is the soil their crime grew in. The crime they committed is not small, my child. It is not something that can be brushed aside with a quick apology or a tear-filled explanation. This is something that has crossed into the territory of justice, into the realm of consequence, into the domain of accountability. They stepped into something that cannot be covered with charm or hidden behind excuses. What they have done is serious, so serious that heaven and earth both stand in agreement regarding their future. Next week, their life will shift. Next week, the truth they hid will come to light. Next week, the lies they constructed will collapse. Next week, the mask they wore will fall off their face. Next week, their actions will burst into the open like a flame they can no longer contain. And next week, the law, yes, the earthly law, will knock on their door. My child, I know this is heavy. I know your heart is hurting because betrayal never feels light, especially when it comes from someone whose presence felt familiar. But you need to understand this truth: their crime is not merely legal, it is spiritual. They didn't just break rules. They broke alignment. They interfered with things they had no authority to touch. They tried to tamper with your destiny. They stepped into territories that were protected by angels. They violated the peace I placed within your life. They trespassed against your purpose, thinking I would stay silent. But I do not stay silent when my child is threatened. You have been asking me lately, why do I feel so tired? Why do I feel drained? Why do I feel like something heavy sits on my chest? And my child, that heaviness did not come from nowhere. It came from a spiritual pressure sent through the cracks this person created in your life. They opened doors you didn't know existed. They allowed negative energy to flow into spaces that once held peace. They allowed spiritual interference to enter environments where I placed protection. And without realizing it, you were carrying the weight of their choices. But hear me now, you will not carry it any longer. My beloved, I am revealing all of this not to burden you, but to free you. You needed to know the truth. You needed to see behind the mask. You needed to understand why certain things in your life felt suddenly off. And now that you know, now that your eyes are open, now that your spirit recognizes what has been happening around you, I can begin the work of restoring everything this person tried to disrupt. My child, the crime they committed was an act they believed no one would ever discover. They thought their lies were sophisticated enough to protect them. They believed their charm would blind those around them. They assumed their mask would never slip. But heaven sees what eyes cannot. Heaven hears what ears cannot. Heaven knows what hearts try to hide. I watched it all. And I waited, not because I needed time, but because they were given time. Time to change. Time to confess. Time to pull away from the wrong path. Time to choose truth. Time to walk out of darkness. But they did not. And now the door they refuse to exit has become the doorway through which judgment will enter. My child, in the coming days, you will see signs. Their behavior will shift. Their anxiety will increase. Their silence will grow louder. Their guilt will leak through their expressions. They will become restless, uneasy, unpredictable. They will sense the consequences coming before you see them. And soon, the external world will catch up with the internal corruption they have been hiding all this time. My beloved, you must not panic. You must not fear. You must not think you are responsible for their fate. I am handling this. I am the one exposing. I am the one revealing. I am the one intervening. Your only responsibility is to step back and allow justice to unfold. My child, now that I have opened your eyes to the truth that was hidden in the shadows around you, I must take you deeper into the spiritual layers of this situation, layers you were never meant to discover through shock, but through revelation. Listen carefully, because what comes next will not only explain the crime this person committed, but also why their downfall is inevitable and why next week marks the moment their actions come face to face with justice. My beloved, the person you trusted, the one whose presence you allowed near your heart, did not fall into crime by accident. They walked into it step by step, with intention, with awareness, with a hardened heart. You may wonder, Lord, how did they become this way? How did someone who stood so close to me end up on such a dark path? And my child, the answer is hidden in something many ignore, the quiet transformation of a person's heart. A heart does not suddenly turn wicked. It shifts gradually, day by day, thought by thought, feeling by feeling, until darkness finds a home inside them. That is what happened here. Their heart didn't turn overnight. It shifted through jealousy they refused to acknowledge. It shifted through bitterness they never confronted. It shifted through competition they hid behind kind words. They carried secret resentment toward you, even while pretending to support you. They smiled, but something twisted beneath the surface. They hugged you, but envy clung to their spirit. They celebrated you outwardly, but inwardly they questioned why your blessings did not belong to them. And my child, that internal corruption became the doorway to the choices they have now made. They began lying with ease. They began manipulating with confidence. They began hiding actions behind closed doors. They became comfortable with deception. They developed a taste for wrongdoing. They didn't just break earthly rules, they broke spiritual laws. They entered agreements with darkness that they believed would never be exposed. But what they didn't understand is that nothing hidden can survive the presence of my light forever. There is a moment when I step in. A moment where my patience becomes justice. A moment where my warnings become consequences. And that moment, my child, arrives next week. Not a year from now. Not someday in the future. Next week. The time they believed would never arrive is already on its way. The season of hiding is ending. The season of exposing is beginning. But my child, hear me clearly, I do not reveal these things to frighten you. I reveal them to protect you. Because there was a world you couldn't see. There were forces working behind you that your eyes could not detect. While you were carrying love, they were carrying intentions shaped by darkness. While you prayed for them, they planned in secret. While you believed in them, they betrayed the very trust you anchored in their heart. Do you know why you felt spiritually unsettled lately? Why your dreams felt strange? Why your intuition became sharper? Why certain conversations felt draining? Why being around them felt heavy? Because your spirit could sense what your mind didn't yet know. Your discernment picked up the spiritual corruption they tried so hard to hide. You felt the disturbance in your peace even when you couldn't explain it with words. My child, let me show you what you didn't see. This person opened spiritual doors they had no authority to open. They spoke words soaked in jealousy. They made choices fueled by resentment. They committed actions that attracted darkness. They tampered with places they had no business entering. They crossed lines that were meant to protect you. And without your knowledge, they tried to interfere with your destiny. They thought you wouldn't notice the subtle shifts. They believed they were clever enough to hide their intentions. They assumed their lies were stronger than your intuition. But I saw it all. I saw the intention behind their smiles. I saw the manipulation behind their kindness. I saw the shadows behind their eyes. I saw the corruption hiding in their heart. And my child, the crime they committed, it is not something small. It is not something accidental. It is not something they stumbled into. They chose it. They planned it. They positioned themselves in places where wrongdoing became their comfort. They aligned with people who encouraged their darkness. They stepped into a world they believed you would never know about. But they forgot one thing: I reveal what must be revealed when my child is at risk. The crime they committed involves betrayal at a level you were not prepared to see. They used your trust as a cover. They used your kindness as a shield. They used your love as camouflage. While you were carrying them in your heart, they were carrying secrets behind their back. And now, my child, every seed they planted will bear fruit, whether they are ready for it or not. Next week, the truth will surface in ways even they cannot control. A door they cannot close will open. A revelation they fear will unfold. A chain of events they cannot escape will begin. My child, their arrest is not a surprise, it is the final chapter of the story they authored with their own actions. But listen to me now, because this is important. You must not blame yourself. This is not your fault. You did not fail them. You did not cause this. You did not invite this darkness into your life. You simply believed in someone whose heart had already turned away from truth. You showed love to someone who did not know how to cherish it. You extended trust to someone who only valued the appearance of loyalty. You gave them access to places they were not spiritually mature enough to handle. My beloved, I allowed you to walk with them only for a season, because even their betrayal served a divine purpose. Their deceit sharpened your discernment. Their presence strengthened your spirit. Their darkness taught you to recognize energy shifts. Their lies awakened your intuition. Their failure to honor you pushed you closer to me. You did not lose, you learned. You did not break, you transformed. My child, next week, when the storm hits their life, you will see things you never expected. You will hear things you never imagined. You will realize truths that were hidden from you for far too long. But through it all, I will shield you. I will protect you. I will keep your spirit safe from the shock that is coming. You may feel emotional, but you will not fall. You may feel disappointed, but you will not be destroyed. You may feel shaken, but you will not be shattered. You may feel betrayed, but you will not lose your identity. Because I am holding your heart. I am guarding your peace. I am covering your mind. I am safeguarding your destiny. My beloved, the reason I am revealing all of this before it happens is because your spirit must be ready. You must not be caught off guard. You must not be confused when the truth breaks open. You must not be shaken when consequences land in their life. You must stand firm, knowing I warned you, I prepared you, I revealed everything to you before it unfolded. And now, my child, let me tell you something profound. Their fall is the beginning of your freedom. Their exposure is the beginning of your elevation. Their removal is the beginning of your next season. For so long, you have been carrying a weight that wasn't yours. You have been tied to someone whose spirit was pulling you down. You have been connected to a soul that created spiritual turbulence around you. And now, I am cutting the cord completely. You will feel lighter. You will feel clearer. You will feel stronger. You will feel relieved. You will feel peace flooding back into your life. Because what was draining you will no longer stand in your circle. My child, a new chapter awaits. And this chapter cannot begin until the person who tried to poison your destiny is removed. Their arrest is not random, it is repositioning. I am repositioning you into alignment. I am repositioning you into clarity. I am repositioning you into purpose. I am repositioning you into protection. My child, now that I have lifted the veil from your eyes and shown you the path this person walked into darkness, I need to reveal what lies beneath the surface of their choices, the spiritual roots that drove them into the very consequences they will face next week. What you saw was only the fruit, what I am about to reveal is the root. And the root always tells a deeper story. My beloved, the truth is this person began losing themselves long before their actions became visible. Their downfall didn't begin with the crime they committed. It began when they allowed resentment to grow in the soil of their heart. At first, it was small, a feeling they brushed aside, a thought they ignored, a whisper they pretended not to hear. But resentment is a dangerous seed. If left unaddressed, it grows into something far more destructive than the person carrying it ever imagines. And that is what happened here. They watched your growth and misunderstood it as their failure. They saw your blessings and interpreted them as their lack. They saw the light on your life and believed it overshadowed their importance. Instead of seeing your rise as an invitation to elevate themselves, they saw it as a threat. And once that lie entered their spirit, it twisted their perception of you. Instead of celebrating you, they compared themselves to you. Instead of supporting you, they silently competed with you. Instead of protecting you, they began acting against you, not always openly, but deep inside, in places no one else could detect. My child, do you know how dangerous it is when jealousy grows in silence? When envy festers behind a smile? When resentment hides behind affection? When bitterness wraps itself in false loyalty? It creates a double soul, one face for the world, and one face for the shadows. And this is why their life has become divided between who they claim to be and who they truly are. Their hearts split long before their actions did. And my beloved, once a person begins living a double life internally, deception becomes easier. That's why they could lie so smoothly. That's why they could pretend so flawlessly. That's why they could hide their wrongdoing behind charm and effortless words. They had been practicing duplicity in their heart long before their hands committed the act that will bring their downfall next week. My child, listen closely. Their crime, the actual act they committed, is serious. It has earthly consequences. It has legal impact. It has tangible effects in the natural world. But what they didn't realize is that their crime also had spiritual ramifications that far outweighed the physical ones. They didn't simply break a human law. They broke alignment with me. They broke the protection I had placed around their life. They stepped out of the covering that shielded them. They disconnected themselves from grace, not because I pushed them away, but because they walked away willingly. And that is why their exposure is coming next week. Not because I want revenge. Not because I delight in their downfall. But because their actions have opened doors that justice must walk through. They opened doors that consequences must now fill. They opened the gate to the harvest they planted with their own hands. My child, let me show you something deeper. You may think they simply made a mistake. But this is not a mistake. A mistake is something unintentional. A mistake is something born out of confusion. A mistake is something that happens when a person doesn't know better. But this, what they did, was not born out of confusion. It was born out of willingness. They knew the difference between right and wrong. They knew what they were doing. They knew the harm it could cause. And yet, they still chose the path they walked. This is why their fate is sealed. This is why next week is the moment everything will crumble. This is why justice will knock on their door. Because they knowingly crossed lines, believing they would never be caught, believing they were smarter than truth, believing they could outrun consequences. But my child, no one outruns truth. No one outmaneuvers justice. No one hides from exposure forever. And next week, the very truth they tried so desperately to bury will rise louder than the lies they told to cover it. My beloved, I know your heart feels heavy hearing all of this. I know it hurts to accept that someone you trusted so deeply has become entangled in such darkness. But hear me clearly, their downfall is not your responsibility. You did not do this. You did not cause this. You did not fail them. You simply loved someone who refused to love themselves enough to walk in truth. My child, let me tell you something powerful now, something that will change how you see everything that is coming. The consequences this person will face next week are not just punishment. They are protection. Not punishment for punishment's sake, but protection for you. Because if I allowed them to continue walking in your life with the darkness they carry, the harm they would inflict on your destiny would be far greater than what you know now. You have no idea how close they came to destroying opportunities meant for you. You have no idea how close they came to poisoning relationships connected to your purpose. You have no idea how close they came to interfering with blessings I am preparing to send your way. Their presence was becoming a blockage, a barrier, a spiritual weight that could have suffocated your progress. That's why I'm removing them. That's why their exposure is coming. That's why their arrest is scheduled by the timeline of justice. My child, you must understand something else now, something essential for your healing. This situation is not about their collapse. This situation is about your rising. Their removal is the beginning of your release. Their brokenness is the beginning of your breakthrough. Their silence will be the beginning of your clarity. Their absence will be the beginning of your elevation. For so long, you have been carrying the weight of someone else's darkness without knowing it. That's why you felt tired. That's why you felt drained. That's why you felt stuck. Their energy was tied to your spirit in ways you didn't see. Their actions were affecting your peace. Their thoughts were clouding your atmosphere. Their jealousy was pulling at your progress. Their resentment was tugging at your blessings. But now, my child, you will be free. When justice comes next week, a spiritual chain around you will break. A heaviness you never understood will lift. A fog that has surrounded your mind will clear. A tension you carried unknowingly will fall away. And my beloved, when this happens, something powerful will replace the space they occupied in your life: peace. You will breathe differently. You will think differently. You will sleep differently. You will speak differently. You will walk differently. You will rise differently. Because the spiritual weight they placed upon you, without your permission, will finally fall off your back. My child, I have something more to reveal. Something even deeper. Something you must understand before the next part of your journey begins. While they walked in darkness, you walked in light. While they hid their intentions, you opened your heart. While they plotted in silence, you prayed for them. While they acted against you, you loved them without hesitation. And that is why you are protected. Your purity shielded you. Your compassion covered you. Your goodness preserved you. Your sincerity protected you. Your innocence defended you. Your heart guarded you. This is why none of their weapons succeeded. This is why none of their attempts damaged your destiny. This is why none of their spiritual interference could touch your calling. My child, your spirit is too chosen to be defeated by someone else's darkness. Now, my child, I must take you into the final layers of this revelation: your restoration, your rising, your future, and why this situation is the doorway to a new chapter of destiny. My child, now that you know the truth of what has been happening behind your back, now that you understand the spiritual weight behind this person's actions, and now that you see why next week will be the week everything breaks open, I must reveal the last and most important part of this message: the future I am leading you into, the restoration I am preparing for you, and the transformation that will rise from the ashes of this betrayal. My beloved, I need you to hear every word with your spirit fully open, because what I am about to say is not just a warning, it is a prophecy over your life. My child, when this person is removed from your path, when their deception collapses under the weight of exposure, your spirit will feel a shift like the breaking of invisible chains you didn't even realize were wrapped around you. You will feel lighter, as if years of emotional tension suddenly melt from your shoulders. You will feel clarity in your thoughts, as if fog has finally cleared after a long storm. You will feel peace pouring into you, washing away the anxiety you carried unknowingly. That is what happens when a soul tied to darkness is finally disconnected from a chosen one. My child, let me show you something. Picture a lamp shining bright. Now imagine someone placing layer after layer of dust, grime, and filth over the glass. The light still burns, but the brightness is dimmed. The glow still exists, but it cannot reach its full potential. That lamp was you. And the layers of dust were this person's influence, their jealousy, their resentment, their manipulation, their secret intentions, their hidden actions. They didn't destroy your light, but they dimmed parts of it you didn't even know were being covered. Their presence placed a weight on your destiny that was never meant to stay. And next week, when they fall, the dust will begin to clear. The lamp will shine again. You will see yourself differently. Your purpose will feel clearer. Your spirit will feel renewed. That is restoration, my child, the restoration I have already begun. My beloved one, I know you are broken right now. I know your heart is fragile. I know you're asking, Lord, how could someone so close do this to me? Why didn't I see it sooner? Why was I blindsided? And I understand the ache behind those questions. But my child, betrayal is never about your weakness. It is about the weakness of the one who betrayed you. You loved purely, they acted corruptly. You trusted openly, they concealed deeply. You gave sincerely, they manipulated quietly. You were not blind. You were pure. You were not foolish. You were faithful. You were not weak. You were loving. Your goodness is not a flaw, my child. It is evidence of who you are in me. Do not let their choices distort your identity. Do not let their darkness convince you that your light is a weakness. Do not let their betrayal convince you that you cannot trust again. What they did is a reflection of their brokenness, not a reflection of your worth. My child, do not internalize their corruption. Do not bleed from wounds they created. Do not carry guilt for actions you did not commit. Let their fall belong to them. Let their consequences belong to them. Let their shame remain theirs. You are not tied to their judgment. And now, my child, listen closely, because what I am about to reveal is the final piece of this revelation, the reason this exposure, this arrest, this downfall had to happen now. For so long, I have been preparing a new season for you, a season of elevation, opportunity, growth, abundance, and divine acceleration. But I could not bring you into this new chapter while this person was still attached to your spirit. Their energy would have interfered with your blessings. Their jealousy would have polluted your opportunities. Their resentment would have sabotaged your relationships. Their hidden darkness would have poisoned your future. So I had to remove them. Not because I am cruel. Not because I want them destroyed. But because you cannot rise while being spiritually connected to someone who is sinking. Their presence was a weight keeping you from ascending. Their deception was a barrier blocking your path. Their intentions were chains around your destiny. And I love you too much to allow anyone, no matter how close, to pull you into their downfall. My child, next week marks the end of a painful chapter, but it also marks the beginning of a glorious one. You will step into a season where the atmosphere feels lighter around you. You will notice you are more focused, more peaceful, more intuitive. You will feel breakthroughs happening faster. You will see blessings that were delayed suddenly appearing. You will sense opportunities pulling toward you. You will walk into divine alignment in ways you have never experienced before. This shift will not be subtle. It will be undeniable. It will feel like the sunrise after a long night, warm, bright, hopeful, life-giving. My child, this betrayal was not meant to break you. It was meant to refine you. It was meant to sharpen your discernment. It was meant to purify your circle. It was meant to elevate your spirit. And now that the truth is out, now that the cord is cut, now that their darkness is exposed, I can release the blessings that were waiting for you. My beloved, you may cry when everything unfolds next week. You may feel a deep ache when the truth fully hits your heart. You may feel anger, sadness, confusion, disbelief. And my child, all of that is okay. Your emotions are valid. Your pain is acknowledged. Your heart matters to me. I am not asking you to pretend you are not hurting. I am not asking you to hide your tears. I am not asking you to be strong for the sake of appearance. I am asking only one thing: let me hold you through it. Lean into me when the shock hits. Come to me when the emotions rise. Cry to me when your heart shakes. Cling to me when your mind spirals. I am your strength. I am your comfort. I am your shield. I am your healer. I am your restoration. And my child, I will be there, not observing from a distance, but holding you, carrying you, comforting you, steadying you, whispering peace into your spirit when the world feels heavy. Now, my beloved, I want you to receive this final prophecy over your life, the conclusion of everything I have spoken. You are stepping into a season of protection. You are stepping into a season of clarity. You are stepping into a season of restoration. You are stepping into a season of spiritual strength. You are stepping into a season of breakthrough. You are stepping into a season of acceleration. You are stepping into a season free from betrayal. And you will not walk alone. I am with you every step. My angels surround you. My hand rests on your head. My presence guards your home. My voice guides your decisions. My spirit strengthens your heart. What was meant for your downfall will become your elevation. What was meant to hurt you will become your testimony. What was meant to destroy you will become your strength. What was meant to poison you will be turned into healing. Your story does not end with betrayal. Your story rises into destiny. Your heart does not break into pieces, it transforms into purpose. Your spirit does not collapse, it awakens. My child, lift your eyes. Your future is brighter than the pain you endured. Your destiny is stronger than the darkness behind you. Your purpose is untouched, unbroken, undefeated. Now breathe. You are free. You are protected. You are restored. You are mine.